much everything is riding on this movie. Not just James Gunn's career or DC on film, I mean the entire superhero genre. The past few years have given us...
What? The entire superhero... What the fuck? Why was he in... No, so an argument can't be made that James Gunn's DC universe is hinging on this movie. Because Warner Brothers does have a habit of, like, last minute, like, changing and, like, you know, freaking out anytime there's a slight warble in the plan. Absolutely. So I would say the DC universe, but, like, Marvel's doing its own thing. Other companies are doing their own superhero stuff. I wouldn't say it's the entire genre of superhero movies hinging on the success of fucking Superman 2025 at all. Marvel's actually done quite well with DC not performing nearly as well. That's been fairly standard, actually. So, I don't know if you guys are aware of this. There was a Superman trailer that dropped the other day. Been a few reaction trailers or videos, including on my channel. I personally thought it was a pretty fucking cool trailer. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and play a little video from one of my streaming buddies, My 2 Cents and Nonsense. He made like a really short video about it, and I'll play it real fast because it was really fun. But we'll see. I haven't actually looked at the Chud reaction yet, but they are doing their reaction videos as well, and I'm interested to see what they have to say about it. But I just thought this was a really fun video. Let me get this set up, and then we will dive into the trailer reactions from the Chud. I will not get offended if you want to take a moment and go watch the trailer so you get some context.
Crypto. Home. Take me home. I would die for that dog.
I just thought that was a really cute little clip they did. That's on My 2 Cents Nonsense. We are not going into Nerdrotic yet, although we will go into Nerdrotic.
AirrickReloaded.com.
Function, YouTube, okay. Before we get into Nerdrotic, we'll actually go ahead and look into Critical Drinker here. Because we're going to take these one at a time and kind of just get an idea of how the Chuds work. So Critical Drinker is probably one of the most popular Chuds on YouTube, at least when it comes to the movie review space, almost certainly. We'll go ahead and go over his take first.
If you asked me to come up with a diplomatic way of describing DC on film lately, I'd say...
It's a cluster.
It's been somewhat mismanaged. I want to be...
I mean, it is, but let's see. Because, I mean, I feel like everybody knows that. I mean, it is. Like, if you ask me about it, I'd say the same thing. Everybody knows that. I agree. But let's see where he goes with it.
Rival to the MCU that arrived late to the party and tried to catch up by fast-tracking half a decade's worth of world building, plot, and character development into a single movie. And as anyone who's arrived late to a house party and tried to play catch-up can tell you, that's never a good idea. Only to spend the next 10 years...
Oh, he's played that same clip from Team America that he's always played. Cool. At least we're consistent.
Lurching drunkenly from disastrous failure to inexplicable success and back again, plagued by a panicking and interfering studio that couldn't seem to make up its mind what it wanted, and a revolving door of executives who each stuck around just long enough to undo the work of their predecessors before getting fired. But even Warner Brothers can only tolerate so much failure, and by 2022 it was obvious that something had to change. Someone with an actual creative vision had to be put in charge of DC on film, and they had to be given the time, money, and power to get the franchise back on track. And well, that man was James Gunn, and his first big test was Creature Commandos. Superman. Now, I'm not kidding when I say that pretty much...
No, I do believe Creature Commandos was produced by him. I have not seen it yet. I've heard good things about it. I don't know if you guys know anything about Creature Commandos. Let me know. Should I be watching it? Is it good? Um, yeah, I don't know.
Much everything is riding on this movie. Not just James Gunn's career or DC on film, I mean the entire superhero genre. The past few years have given us
What? The entire superhero? What the fuck? Why was he? No. So an argument can be made that James Gunn's DC universe is hinging on this movie because Warner Brothers does have a habit of like last minute like changing and like freaking out anytime there's a slight warble in the plan. Absolutely. So I would say the DC universe, but like Marvel's doing its own thing. Other companies are doing their own superhero stuff. I wouldn't say it's the entire genre of superhero movies hinging on the success of fucking Superman 2025 at all. Marvel's actually done quite well with DC not performing nearly as well. That's been fairly standard, actually.
us an almost endless stream of embarrassing failures from every major studio. Never give up hope though, Sony. Deadpool and Wolverine was a big hit, to be sure, but one successful movie can't change the fact that superhero movies have been on a downturn ever since Avengers Endgame.
Well, I mean, it's been a while, but I went over all the numbers a while ago. Is Phase 4 like less successful than Phase 3? Yeah, sure. But it's like about on par with like Phase 2 of Marvel. So like it kind of depends like what they were planning on, but like it's frankly still able to pull in the money. Now an argument can be made that the budgets have gotten bloated and that hurts the amount of money coming in. Sure. But then the argument is reducing the budget, not is there still interest? Because obvious if the interest hasn't really changed between Phase 2 and Phase 4, then interest is still there. It's just getting the budgets under control, which is a separate issue. That is also a nuanced argument that I'm sure Critical Drinker will cover that nuanced argument, right? I'm sure he'll get to that.
Superman needs to succeed, which means that all eyes were.
He is putting way too much on this. By the way, clip from Doom Patrol. I still need to finish the last season of Doom Patrol. That was a fun show.
On the first teaser trailer when it came out yesterday. So what's it
I just love the random stock footage he's throwing out there. This random DC shit.
Actually like? Does it inspire confidence in a movie that's going to save DC and put the entire superhero genre back on track? Or is it an embarrassing and ridiculous spectacle of pure cringe? Well, it opens on a somber note with Superman lying injured and bleeding in the snow, and if ever there was a perfect metaphor for the public perception of the character after being Zack Snyder to within an inch of his life, it's this. But
so you didn't watch Superman and Lois? Because Superman and Lois, in my opinion, had the best version of Superman ever with Tyler Hoechlin. I love his Superman and his Clark. Yes. So Henry Cavill, I think had the potential to be a good Superman, but he was held back by a not great script, not great scripts. He was held back by lesser scripts. Let's just say that. We never got to see him fully develop his Superman. So if we're just comparing feature film Supermans, David Cornsweet has plenty of room to improve. Now for comparing it to TV, Tyler Hoechlin's fucking amazing. But let's go ahead. But yeah, I just find it interesting. Superman and Lois pretty much wildly loved at this point. Like everybody's up about how much they like the final season, and he's just going to ignore that because it's not helpful to his I'm trying to think of the term. It's not helpful to his setup, I guess.
But okay, sure, it establishes a sense of urgency and drama, because really, if someone or something can beat the shit out of Superman, it must be a pretty major threat. I have to say though, I'm not exactly loving the suit. It looks cheap and padded, and I know it's unfair to compare him to Henry Cavill, but David Corenswet does seem like a bit of a downgrade in the physicality department.
We haven't seen him. He looks big and ripped. What? What? Okay.
You get to see little vignettes of him as Clark Kent at the Daily Planet, and apart from the awful Gen Z bird's nest hairstyle, it all looks pretty good.
Gen Z, it's Silver Age, bro. So what the fuck? Bird.
We get to see Lois Lane and Jonathan Kent, and it's a neat whistle-stop tour of all the things and people that are important to him. I'm not sure about the electric guitar rendition of the John Williams score, though.
No, I mean, that was actually a complaint I had, but then I felt towards the end of the trailer it worked out better. Watch my video.
Like, I know James Gunn really loves his 80s music, but damn man, turning an iconic score like that into a sad guitar solo is like drawing a cock on the Mona Lisa.
Is that funny? Like, again, I point out how I criticize that, but then by the end of the trailer, it kind of worked for me.
Yeah, you can do it in theory, but the question you have to ask yourself is, should you? But just when you thought things were getting a bit too somber and serious and not James Gunny enough, the dog shows up.
Fuck.
Oh yeah, the dog. Now, I like dogs as
The dog was epic. What the is he actually gonna complain about Crypto's moment in the trailer? Cause the dog was fucking epic. That dog was a highlight. Like that dog is so fucking cute. That dog is epic. Critical Drinker, don't you dare fucking criticize the goddamn dog. Holy shit.
much as the next guy.
I have to do it myself.
But I'll be honest here, I'm not sure that I want to watch a super-powered one dragging Superman through the snow by his cape. It rather ruins the verisimilitude for me, don't you know? And yeah, I know this is supposed to be Crypto from the comics, but it was a goofy idea even then, and it looks even worse on film, which is probably...
That dog's adorable. What the... like, is he so struggling for a complaint on this? Is he so struggling? Because Crypto was awesome in that trailer. The fuck?
Probably why no other big screen version of Superman has ever used it. I've got to admit...
Well, I mean... I guess he has to cut out Superman Lois. Although Superman Lois, Crypto was just a dog. He wasn't a superpowered dog.
Though the anarchist in me would love to see Zack Snyder's take on it.
Yeah. Cool.
As
Although technically Crypto was in that superhero Pets movie that came out a couple years ago.
for the rest of the teaser, Lex Luthor looks decent even if he's a bit on the young side. Hawk Girl, Green Lantern,
Yeah, he's on the young side because a lot of the cast is younger.
Mr. Terrific and Metamorpho are all there, and fuck me, that's a lot of characters to work in, but I'll come back to that one shortly. I'm not entirely sure why there's a kaiju in a Superman film, but okay.
Because Superman fighting a kaiju sounds awesome. We'll see if it's actually executed well, but like that concept to me, I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do it.
Fine. And lastly, there's plenty of focus on the romance between Superman and Lois, which is nice to see in a modern Hollywood movie where functional heterosexual relationships are rarer than female apologies.
What? Okay, the functional heterosexual relationships are rare than female apologies. So there's plenty of heterosexual relationships in Hollywood even today, and female apologies? What? I'm sure there are female apologies, but I don't think that's a common film thing.
So what's my overall opinion? Was it an embarrassing disaster or a creative triumph? Well, it's neither of those things really. What it is for the most part is safe.
Okay, so what we're seeing so far with this, he's like, outside that last comment real quick, that last comment was pretty rough. He hasn't really done, that's the most dog whistly thing he's done. For the most part, all he said is very surface level analysis that most everybody knows. And a lot of both siderism. Just like, oh, this sucks, but it's okay. Oh man, this is the best trailer ever, but gave me cancer. You know, he likes to do shit like that.
Cautious kind of trailer that hits all the predictable superhero beats, doesn't try anything
Okay, so Critical Drinker, Will Jordan. doing a YouTube video. The point is not to analyze the history of trailers or analyze the work done into DC studios. No, the point is to give your opinion of the trailer. You can talk about the other stuff, but go and just give your opinion of the trailer. Don't be like, oh, because as it is, he's just being wishy-washy and not saying anything. It's to the point where he's so wishy-washy, you could kind of take almost anything he says about this trailer out of this, depending on your own preconceived notions, which is probably part of the point.
Particularly crazy or controversial, and seems almost desperately eager to please from a studio that's clearly nervous about this film.
A studio that's desperate to please? Okay, fun fact. All studios want to please their audience with their movie. So they'll come back and watch it. That's every movie that's ever made.
James Gunn's usual confidence and artistic flair is kind of lacking here, and I can't quite decide if...
Well, he's toning down himself, but also it's just a teaser. But yeah, he's definitely toning it down, because I don't think how you'd handle a Guardians movie or how you'd handle the Suicide Squad would be a good idea on how to handle a Superman movie. They're very different heroes.
If that's a good or a bad thing in this case. See, I've always had reservations about Gunn doing a Superman film. Reservation the first is that I don't think his quirky, snarky, subversive sense of humor is all that compatible with a character like this. Don't get...
You see, that was actually part of Gunn's point, because what he took this role on because, obviously he was given control of the DC universe, and he even commented essentially when he was younger, he wanted to do something more like Guardians, where he could kind of just throw his own fun into it. He didn't think he was mature enough when he did Guardians to do something like Superman, but when he got the opportunity to do DC stuff, he thought about, how would I do a Superman movie? And that's kind of what he's doing with it. He feels confident that he could do a Superman movie. He's stepping outside of his comfort zone and doing a Superman movie. And frankly, I say give him the opportunity, considering the fact that every superhero movie he's done so far has been pretty much a grand slam. He doesn't have any duds under his belt. So if he wants to step outside of his comfort zone, push himself, go for the Superman movie, let's see what happens. I'm game.
Get me wrong, he's good at what he does, but what he does falls within a very specific niche that includes Guardians of the Galaxy and... his irreverent sense of humor and a clear preference.
He did the Suicide Squad. He did Peacemaker. And that's just the superhero movies he's done. Do you want to dive into his filmography? It's not spotless, but in general, he does lots of before Guardians, he was primarily known for lots of cheesy horror movies, which were fun. But that was his primary bag. And then he stepped outside of his comfort zone and did Guardians. And he did a great job. And now he's stepping outside that comfort zone again and doing a different type of superhero movie. I have the feeling Drinker doesn't really know James Gunn's filmography, at all. At least that's the sense I get.
Preference for angsty, morally ambiguous anti-heroes works just fine for the Guardians movies, but Superman is a very different...
Yeah, the Supers is that's a dark one. Holy shit.
Beast. He's a throwback to a more innocent, idealistic, and earnestly honest kind of superhero. A man who proudly stands for truth, justice, and the American way, and doesn't do it under a dozen layers of postmodernist, subversive, deconstructed irony. And I could be wrong.
What evidence in that trailer do you get that that's what James Gunn's doing? For God's sakes, you already talked about Crypto being in the trailer. And Crypto was presented earnestly as this badass super dog. He wasn't trying to be subversive or sneaky or being clever or funny in that trailer about Crypto. No. Crypto was there to help Superman. And it was just earnestly presented as just that, a superpowered dog helping Superman. This is kind of how the drinker grifts. Yes, he does kind of, he dog whistles the stuff like the other guys do, although he's the best at dog whistling it. Where it's like, young men are being attacked and being replaced by women and minorities and all that jazz. We all know that jazz. But he also does this both sidery thing where it's like, oh man, this is okay, but the worst thing ever. Like, that's, and it's very, this whole video is incredibly fucking surface level. Holy shit.
Wrong, but I feel like such a straight up interpretation of the character is like the antithesis of everything that Gunn stands for.
He's actually said very little about the actual fucking trailer. Now he's just criticizing James Gunn, saying, I don't think he's the type of guy for this movie. Have you tried? Like I feel like you've spent like maybe 30 to 60 seconds of this thing talking about the actual trailer. Can you maybe focus a bit more on that? What is the trailer presenting you, Will Jordan? My God.
Or as a creator. Reservation the second is that Gunn clearly has a strong preference for team-up movies with big ensemble casts of like...
I haven't seen his really early stuff, Blood Video Company, but like what I've seen outside the superhero genre, I think is fine. I think it's actually pretty good. I enjoy it for the most part. I will say I know lots of people attribute that one like Superman horror movie to him. He did not direct that. He produced that. That his name was on the promotional material a lot because he's a bigger name, but he was not like directly involved with that. Well, he was directly involved with that, but like as a producer, he wasn't a writer or a director on that. What was that called? I don't remember. I'm complete like that Superman horror movie. Fuck, I'm brain farting on what that's called. That was not James Gunn directing that. I reviewed it on my goddamn channel. I'm so brain farting on it, but
Likeable misfits having to learn to put aside their differences and work together. That basic formula has been at the core of Suicide Squad, all 3 Guardians movies, Peacemaker and Creature Commandos. And that's just swell. But here's the thing, I don't want that in a fucking Superman movie. I don't want to watch Superman bickering with a bunch of assholes, trading quips and insults and having to slowly win.
What in the trailer indicated that that's what you're seeing? What indicated that to you, Will Jordan? Because so far you've spent very little time actually talking about the fucking trailer. Brightburn, thank you.
Them over. I want to see him being a hero and standing on his own 2 feet, because this is supposed to be his movie, not some launch pad for half a dozen spin-off characters. But now that I've seen the trailer, I think one of those reservations has been put to bed, while the other's pretty much been confirmed. Crypto aside, the overall tone actually looks pretty earnest and straight up, and I get the impression that Gunn's actually taking this thing seriously. Say what you want about the guy, but he understands comic books, so I'd imagine he very much understands what makes Superman work as a character. On the other hand, the glut of supporting characters tells me he's probably going to run straight back to his team of misfits comfort zone, which feels like a big misstep here. I don't want every James Gunn movie to be just another Guardians clone, trying to impose the same formula on characters and worlds where it's not needed or wanted. Ultimately though, a lot of this is still guesswork at this point. It's only a teaser at the end of the day. A lot of things can change between now and July, and the film itself might still end up being the best superhero flick in years. As a teaser designed to get us pumped up for it though.
Oh my god, such fence-sitting shit.
I'm not convinced this one quite hits the mark. It definitely wasn't a failure, but I suspect that whether you love or hate James Gunn's work, you're probably going to find something in it to back up your position. As for me, I'm going to try and keep an open mind on this one and just hope that Gunn can deliver, because really, a lot depends on it. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
So that's Critical Drinker's review of the trailer. Very fucking surface level. Didn't say, honestly, a whole lot. And that is what a chud, a grifter of 2 million subs says. He is extremely popular. And he honestly, like, you watch one of his videos, you're not going to learn a whole lot. It is so generic. But let's step it down a bit. We're going to go to Nerdrotic now. His response to this trailer.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.